Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Happy holidays. It's episode 38 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And I am your other host, Brian. And I think I have to start with coming clean that I know if you by the time you get this, it's now been a few days after, but I had gotten my good friend and co-host birthday the wrong day.
Whoa.
And I wished him, I have to say, I meant to wish him a happy birthday on the day of. I had a whole bunch of stuff, and I had it listed the wrong day. And he even gave me a hint by telling me what he got on his birthday.
Which I'm wearing right now, by the way. Yeah,
which
I got some The Last Jedi pajamas.
Right.
What a nerd I am.
So, and I said, he must have got it for his birthday a day early, which makes no sense why I would think that. But anyway, I still think I got like moving on the brain kind of thing. And I don't know what day is what. But anyway, so I will say it in person to my dulcety-toned co-host. Happy birthday, Tim. And hopefully you didn't slam down on the table and scare your family and saying, I want my cake.
No. Thank you very much. It was partially my fault. Somehow my birthday got set to private on Facebook, so nobody knew it was my birthday outside of my immediate family, which was okay.
Yeah, in our group chat that we're all in, it was kind of funny. Like, all of a sudden, I see these things go flying down at, like, late at night. And
it's like, oh, crap.
I saw Seth sent you something nice, though, on Facebook.
He did,
too.
yeah.
He sent you.
No, but it was fine. We had a very low-key birthday, which is exactly how I wanted it this year. Just went out to lunch with the family and had a little private party at home. So it was a lot of fun. And got some great pajamas out of it, too. So
exactly. There you go. That's what you like to hear.
Yeah. I was actually, I don't know about you, Brian. I don't know what your take is on holiday music, but I always start the Christmas music immediately after Thanksgiving. So that's what I was listening to in preparation for this episode.
Actually, I have to say, I do the same. Because something about, and it's funny because it's a little earlier this year. You know, Thanksgiving tends to sometimes kind of be that last, I know it's the fourth Thursday or whatever it's supposed, but it's weird when it's kind of this early. So it's kind of like, you know, to me it feels a little early. So, but I'm the same way. It's like as soon as Thanksgiving hits, I get boom, like launched right into the holiday spirit. And these with this, I'll tell you what, it's funny. It's harder when it becomes when Star Wars movies have been coming out now regularly around this time because I get into this Star Wars fever over the holiday fever, and so it's really like it's like normally where I watch holiday movies and stuff like that. I'm going to be rewatching all the Star Wars movies and stuff, and now with this podcast, which is good because now I can watch. I have like about 6 or 7 good holiday horror movies I have on the slate, including the 3 we're going to be doing the next 3 weeks. So
yeah, and man, speaking of movies, I have been watching a ton of them. Let's get right into it with our first chop. So, Brian, first I think we should talk about what our Black Friday damage is, because I know with all the great deals that were going on, you had to have bought something on Black Friday from a Blu-ray movie perspective.
Yeah, I did. I was trying to be good. As I said, they're trying to curb my budget a little bit, but since I got a nice little text message from Tim saying the Wolfman Legacy is on sale, quick, buy it. So of course, I jumped on that right away because I think it was, what was it,
$14.99. So lowest I've ever seen any of those boxes.
Yeah, there is no way I was passing that up. So I have a pretty respectable Black Friday damage, which was really $14.99 plus I think a $6 little attachment thing I bought for a phone holder in the car, which I don't count. But yeah, so I got my Wolfman Legacy set. It was kind of exciting because it was my first package that arrived in my new place. So, and it was pretty cool that it was such a cool iconic little Blu-ray set.
Yeah, I'm only going to go over the movies because we actually did get some great Black Friday deals for the kids. My mom kept the kids on Black Friday evening so that we could go out and just pretty much get all of their Christmas done, which is really, really cool. And got some really great deals. But so, of course, I did pick up the Wolfman Legacy collection, which does complete my Universal Monsters collection, at least so far, until they release Creature from the Black Lagoon and Invisible Man.
Which are they better, for God's sake?
Yeah, because those are out on DVD. There's no reason they can't transfer those over to Blu-ray. And then the other big purchases were... Now, I didn't buy any big sets for Black Friday because I was trying to be a little reasonable, but I couldn't pass up some of these deals. Best Buy had a buy one, get one free deal on a limited selection, but I did pick up a couple that I did not have, and that was Stephen King's Christine and the recently released Don't Breathe, which was really, really good.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So pick those up. I also picked up Get Out and Krampus for $5.99. And
wow, that's a good deal on those.
It was a really great deal. Yeah, I thought for some reason I had bought Get Out, but I had not. And I'm not sure if I maybe bought it as a gift for somebody or I just thought I had ordered it and didn't.
Yeah, I thought we had talked about how you had it.
Yeah.
Could you have lent it out and someone never gave it back?
No, I honestly don't have it because I keep all my Blu-rays. I don't lend them out. I have them all in one place. I think maybe I had put it in a cart at some point thinking I'd ordered it and just never did. Because I went back and looked through all my orders. I never had it. But anyway, two great deals on those. And Krampus, of course, we're going to be covering this month on the podcast. So that was a good pickup.
Yeah, I of course could not have partaken in that because I bought them all when they came out. Although I did think I got a good deal on Christine when I think Best Buy had one of those sales. It was like not the steelbook version, but remember when they had those? It was like a sale on their new artwork versions. Those like weird like
drawn.
Yeah. It was like that. They had like a sale on it. It was like 2 for something, and I think I got that and something else. So, while I probably didn't get that as good a deal as you got, I probably got. I would think I got a decent deal on it. I believe.
Yeah, and then the big thing I did over the break was watch movies because the backlog project is officially back on in a big, big way.
I noticed. I mean, my measly little comment, which I'll get to after on the first chop, is like no comparison to Tim's like huge thing here.
Yeah, I spent the greater part of the holiday, any free time I had, catching up on my backlog. And the reason was I decided to devote the entire month of December to just backlog movies.
So it's a Tim's December to remember.
Yeah, especially since we're going to be on break for 3 weeks and because it just seemed like a good time. You know, a lot of the shows are going to be in reruns. You're going to have breaks over the holidays. I just thought it would be a good time to catch up. And also, I'll probably be getting some movies for Christmas, and I want to cut into that enormous backlog I have. So the first one up I watched was Bride of Frankenstein, the original. Which was
a good one.
I mean, I've seen that one so many times, but it still holds up. It's really, really good. The only thing I had totally forgotten about was there was that weird sequence in the beginning where the guy, the other doctor, he makes like tiny people and puts them in bottles. Do you remember?
Oh my
Do you
God,
remember
I don't
that?
remember that.
I had completely blocked it out of my mind. Yeah, there's a whole section where this other mad scientist who basically goads Victor Frankenstein back into creating the bride. But he makes these humanoids that like live in little bottles. There's like a pope and a king and a queen or a ballerina dancer or something. It's really, really bizarre.
It sounds like the land of make believe from Mr. Rogers, like with the little.
It's really bizarre. I'd totally forgotten about that. And then I watched Son of Frankenstein, which, man, to me, Son of Frankenstein's really, really underrated. You always hear about Bride of Frankenstein being the best movie from the Frankenstein era, but Son of Frankenstein's really good as well. Of course, it stars our good pal Bela Lugosi as the Igor type character. I can't remember if his name is actually Igor in the movie, but he is great in that. He completely disappears into that role. Like to me, it's almost as good a performance as his Dracula was. That's how iconic it is. And what was funny watching it was seeing all the references that young Frankenstein stole from this movie. So you look back at Young Frankenstein, you think, oh yeah, it lifted from the Frankenstein movies. Well, it borrowed almost most heavily from Son of Frankenstein because it basically lifts that entire plot line.
Wouldn't it be Son of Frankenstein?
Frankenstein, yeah, because his son actually in Son of Frankenstein, his Victor Frankenstein's son actually comes back and basically picks up where his father left off, just like the Young Frankenstein movie. So they stole a lot of the characters and stuff from that. So if you have not seen that one, it's worth, and especially if you're a Young Frankenstein fan, it's definitely worth going back and revisiting that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of these in a long time, so I can't wait until like I can see another deal on that Frankenstein set, because I have now the Mummy and the Wolfman. I'm just needing Frankenstein and Dracula, so I'm waiting to get a good deal on those. I keep looking every time Best Buy sometimes they'll have their special box sets sales, so I'm keeping an eye out. I might have put them on my list too. So
yeah, I know Amazon has had them for $19.99 recently, so you may want to check.
Yeah.
The next one up I watched was Flatliners, the original from 1990, and this one it's still a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but there's some of the sequences that haven't aged super well to me. They seemed a little dated. And it was kind of funny to see all the Julia Roberts and Kiefer Sutherland and all those, how young they looked at the time. But I enjoyed it. Like, it's a classic. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bad-mouthing Flatliners. But I can see why they wanted to do a remake. It probably doesn't hold up for kids these days. We kind of laugh at it because there are some kind of cheesy sequences in it. And then, let's see, next up was 28 Days Later, which I had not seen in a long time. Now, this one, by contrast, has held up really well. Surprisingly, since there's been so many zombie movies since this came out. And if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the first instances of, like, fast zombies.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And, but I went into it kind of dreading it because I was like, oh my God, I'm so burned out on zombie stuff. This is going to be just tedious, but in fact it really still holds up really, really well, thanks to Cillian Murphy's great performance, and even the storyline still holds up surprisingly, given that it's been copied and rehashed so many times.
Yeah, no, it was really good. And I remember the one thing I was like, it's much different than, the sequel. I mean, and plus taking Sandra Bullock out of it completely. Oh wait, that's a different 28 Days.
I would pay to see Sandra Bullock being chased by zombies.
Don't you think that would be cool if we somehow someone started a rumor that was in the same universe, literally, the Sandra Bullock 28 Days and then 28 Days Later? Because when I saw that listed on just a name thing, I had no idea what it was about at the first, and I kind of said, wait a minute, they made a sequel to that movie?
They stole the sequel title.
They did. I know. Now that's Sandra Bullock. I think she just finally settled out of court. So now she can do her sequel. Yeah. It'll be like 29 days after or something. I don't know. But
next up was one I've been wanting to revisit for a long time now. That was Friday the 13th Part 6, which was my absolute favorite as a kid. And
yes,
I had completely forgotten how funny this movie is. There's a lot of humor in it.
Oh my God, the cops alone in it.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I liked it so much too. Looking back on it, is because it had that humor element. And but yeah, I really, really liked that one. That was fun to watch, and I could not help but envision the video game as I was watching it. Especially when Tommy Jarvis shows up and Jason's busting through cabin doors and stuff. I mean, they gave homage to Friday the 13th Part 6 quite heavily in the video game.
Yeah, and I am having such withdrawals because I've not yet set up my surround sound, which means, so my Xbox and is just kind of sitting there. So it's not hooked up. So now we're talking about almost 3 weeks since I played the game, and I'm probably getting really rusty. But so I got to get back into that. But yeah, it totally does, when you see that movie, because that had and just the way how you wait, there's even little those still screen, those still loading screens is one that actually has Camp Forest Green in the video game. So they definitely, and of course you can play Jason Part 6, obviously, and the whole Tommy Jarvis element is obvious. I wish there was I kind of, when they do those little campaigny modes they're gonna come out with, I hope they do some kind of it'd be cool to have it take place in that movie timeline.
Yeah, that would be cool. And then I got around to a lot of commentaries as well, because as you know, my backlog project, you have to watch the movie and the commentary.
Yes.
So I made my way through a ton of those, and those I kind of put on the background and just listened to them. The first one was for The Possession. It was the second commentary on that movie. That's actually a pretty decent modern movie. That was the one about the little girl that has the demon box. I can't remember what they call it, but she gets possessed, and it's got Negan from Walking Dead. Sorry, I'm bad with actor names.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, pretty decent movie. And this commentary was much better than the first one. This one, the first one was just dreadfully, painfully boring. But this one was actually really entertaining. Had a lot of good insight to the movie. I watched the commentary for Friday the 13th Part 5, which is pretty hysterical because the director of that movie is just a total clown.
Oh, he's crazy,
yeah,
I heard.
He is completely crazy.
Like he wanted to, like it to be like I heard there was more like he was like mean and like vile to the people on the set, and he wanted like he was just screaming at them the whole time. Because I saw that is in that what's the, that one of those the Crystal Lake documentaries, one of those the big one, that 8-hour one, whatever that one was called, Crystal Lake Memories, I guess. I remember the sequence of that when they went into that. It was like, and he had it like much more hardcore like scenes and stuff to where they had to cut a lot out, and it was mostly the stuff he put in because like wasn't he like some kind of like an adult film director?
Yeah,
or something?
He created a porno right before.
Right. Yeah, and I think so they were saying he tried to actually put some of that element into it, which backfired horrendously.
Yeah.
So.
And I found out that part 5, or was it part? Yeah, it was part 5. That's when the Motion Picture Association started really cracking down on Friday the 13th. It became like the poster child for violence and R ratings. So they really started like snipping violence and nudity and stuff. So before,
oh my God, how'd this one get released at all?
Yeah,
then?
I know, really. But that's one of the big reasons that big picnic sex scene was cut out of part 5.
Yeah, from what I heard, it was like a lot more like graphic.
Oh yeah. They even go over that in the commentary. The next one I watched was the commentary for Life Force, which, man, that's a great movie. I've watched it twice through now, once just straight and once with the commentary.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't. I know you turned around during this one.
Yeah, I covered my eyes during this one.
During this this commentary.
Yeah, that's another good commentary. Toby Hooper's kind of a quiet, reserved guy. So he had another moderator that was kind of feeding him questions and stuff to keep him talking, because I think otherwise he would have just sat there and watched the movie. But it did have some really good insight into the effects and stuff. And there's another commentary I've still got to watch on that one by the actual makeup guy. So I'm really curious to hear that one. Today I watched the commentary for Get Out. Or listen.
That's one I want to really see.
That one's great.
Too,
Jordan Peele does a great job, especially as a first-time director doing an audio commentary. He keeps things moving, and he gives a lot of insight as to what he was thinking when he wrote the movie. And so it's a lot of that stuff we've already figured out as far as the racial overtones and stuff he was trying to convey. But it's good to hear it straight from him, and he actually added some stuff I did not pick up on when I was watching the movie,
cool.
So that was really entertaining. And then finally, I watched the commentary for Trick or Treat by Michael Dougherty, and that was a really fun commentary. He's just a big nerd like we all are. He's pointing out all the X-Men and references in his movie and showing you how everything kind of combined together and how you have cameos from certain segments show up in different other segments and stuff. So that was another really entertaining commentary for one of my favorite Halloween movies of all time.
Okay, yeah, and actually the director, Michael Dougherty, he actually had there's a connection where there's a shared universe in Trick or Treat and Krampus. So, and basically there was a deleted scene in Krampus where they made a couple of references where Max, which is the young boy in Krampus, I guess he goes to give his cousin some candy, and the candy he gives him is the same fictional candy seen in Trick or Treat, which was the little the old fake candies and stuff.
Yeah.
So you could see the holly hose and lot, because it says, as well as the pumpkin lollipop.
Oh,
so there, and he released it. He said, I guess back in 2015, he had said it could be in the same universe, but you'd have to really be sharp to see it. Well, apparently, it was the deleted scene, so you'd have to be really sharp.
Yeah. Well, speaking of holly hose, in the commentary, you find out that was one of the crew members jabs at his ex-girlfriend named Holly.
I get it. Nice.
Yeah,
gotta love with it. What is he, like Taylor Swift?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so that's cool. So yeah, the only thing I gotta add here to my first job is I guess Tim's got his backlog project right now. I have my mega DVD organization project, which what that is basically in our new place. It's an apartment, so I basically we're trying to make streamline everything. So I didn't want to obviously give up all my DVDs because a lot of them I don't have on Blu-ray. I made a compromise with Julie. Basically, so my Blu-rays could be displayed, but what I'm going to do for the DVDs is store them, basically get rid of the cases and store them in one of those filing systems. So that's what I've been doing the last couple days, and it has become a beast of a project, I tell you. But I got this really cool thing where it literally looks like a trunk, and it holds 1,000 discs in each one.
Oh, wow.
I got them off on Amazon, yeah, and each little sleeve is kind of like one of those hanging file folders that can hold a disc on each side, and it counts 1 to 250. So basically, while I've been putting it in, I've been making a Google Sheets to know exactly what number it is. So if someone wants to go find a movie, they just look at it, look at the number, and can find it quick. So it's actually, for me, that's like super, super organized. But yeah, this thing on Amazon I should post it, because if anyone wants to streamline their collection of DVDs, because the Blu-rays I like to keep, they're a little slimmer anyway, they're a lot easier to do it, but and the funny thing is where it comes to, it's like I'm like, curse these like 3-disc collections, which I thought were so cool back then, because they're taking up literally 3 spaces instead of one movie. So I may actually have to I bought 2 of these things for $2,000. I may have to buy a third, depending on how it goes.
Jeez, wow. That's pretty impressive.
It's pretty good. Well, you saw it in person.
Yeah,
you saw those.
It's impressive,
stacks.
folks. Very impressive.
But yeah.
Or since we're coming up on Star Wars, I should say, most impressive.
Most impressive. Nice. As he says that in his Last Jedi pajamas.
Yeah. Okay, so are we ready for our huge dismemberment?
I say yes.
All right, here we go.
Wait, no, please, God. No, God.
So apparently the DVD manufacturers know Christmas is coming, because they put a slew of releases out for this first week of December. These are the Blu-ray releases for December 5th. And let me tell you, if you are a 70s horror fan like I am, you are in for a Merry, Merry Christmas. Because they released a ton of cool titles this week.
Yeah, this could be a very expensive week if you're trying to get it all.
Yeah, and I've already decided I'm not going to buy any of these, even though I really would love to have almost everything on this list. But I've got to draw the line. I've got to get through this backlog before I start treating myself to some of these. So,
yeah. Well, there's one obviously with my pick of the week, which I will be getting.
Yeah,
just I have to.
Although I will say, I think when I start back after I finish the backlog, as my reward for finishing my backlog, I think I'm really going to focus on 70s horror, because I think that's where my true love lies. So.
Well, and that's a good collection, It's like, all the other modern stuff you can pretty much see on cable or Amazon Prime or Netflix. A lot, you can get those a lot easier. I mean, with Shudder, that definitely added a good opportunity to see some of these classic ones. But, those are the ones that will definitely be down the road, probably harder to locate when you want to rewatch.
Right, and plus, I figured if I focus on a particular subgenre, it keeps my collection in check. I'm not just buying everything I see, which is my temptation. So, so the first up is speaking a prime example. This one is from 1972, and it's called The Blood Spattered Bride. This is a Mondo Macabro release, and this is one I'm definitely not getting because it's limited to 1,000 copies.
Oy vey.
So it's probably already gone by the time you hear this.
Yeah.
Newlywed Susan is haunted by visions of Mircalla Karnstein. I need Gene Wilder to tell me how to pronounce that.
Yeah, I know. Where is he?
A centuries-old bride who murdered her husband on their wedding night. That sounds pretty cool. I like the title.
Very happy,
Blood Spattered Bride. That's a good title.
Okay, just so you know, so I looked this up as you said that. It actually is still available on regular DVD. You can get it for $9.99.
Oh, okay. So if you just want to see the movie,
Amazon.
you could.
So yeah, if you just want the movie, you will not have trouble getting that. And actually, apparently, it's also on Amazon Video to stream on Prime right now.
Oh, well, then I shall be doing
which is
that.
Nice. Yeah, so there you go.
Well,
it's a Cinema Classics
nice
version. So look at that. See, Tim, it's like the gods are smiling down on you.
They surely are, yeah.
Yeah. And also, if you choose to have a nice display piece, apparently Amazon also is selling 27 by 40 posters for $16.48 from Pop Culture Graphics.
Yeah.
So look at that, a little bonus.
I don't think Olivia's going to let me put a
dismemberment.
Blood Spattered Bride poster in our house, but
Yeah, that might be tough. That might be a tough sell.
Okay, next up is a huge release this week, probably one that most people will be getting. And
Oh, yeah.
it also happens to be our featured film of the week, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think this might be the first time that has been the case where we're talking about the movie that is featuring now in the dismemberment.
Yeah, and I really am bummed that I passed on this one that had the figure, because they're selling a collector's edition of this with the actual figure, and it looks awesome, especially after having just watched the movie. The figure is just phenomenal. But this is, of course, Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. This is a Scream Factory collector's edition. It's got a 4K restoration, 2 audio commentaries, and just a ton of extras, too many to even list, like pretty much all Scream Factory collector editions have. And, of course, the description, spoiler alert, of what we're about to talk about anyway, but after his parents are murdered, a tormented teenager goes on a murderous rampage dressed as Santa due to his stay at an orphanage where he was abused by the Mother Superior. So we'll talk plenty more about that later on in the episode. But fantastic release. Like I will definitely pick up this one, even if it's the one without the figure, at some point soon.
Right. I forgot how much I enjoyed it until we rewatched it. So
the next one up, of course, is your pick of the week, Brian.
Yes, Twin Peaks, a limited event series, which I find it funny that it's so funny. I've seen this referred to so many times. I've seen it referred to as Twin Peaks: The Return, Twin Peaks Season 3, but now the release of it is calling it Twin Peaks: a limited event series. So, which would imply that, okay, this is it, even though they said obviously there's still a chance that it could come back. You never know. I have not read the books yet that I got based on, the new movie. There was a couple of books based on it, supposedly tie up this series a little bit more. So I have not read yet that. So maybe once I read that might kind of give me more of a clue that if they really can go somewhere else with this series, or they're just going to end it, that is. But of course, I'll have to be getting this, the completionist I am, but also because I want to rewatch this, and I kind of want to rewatch it on my own terms in the highest quality possible. So actually, I'm really looking forward to getting this because I want to make sure that do like a full on, like, just binge watch of the new season again, because it was fantastic. Tim, you need to catch up.
Yeah, I've got to. I'm slowly catching up. I promise. I'm making progress. But this one does have some featurettes on it, so it's probably worth picking up for the extras since you're such a fan.
Oh yeah, and I tell you, they do some fantastic, like the Fire Walk with Me extras that were in the most recent box set for the first 2 series was something like, it was like an hour and 45 minutes of deleted scenes. Wow. There was so much in there that I didn't go into any of the commentary or all the documentaries. Like, one of these days, I mean, I want to make that a backlog project of my own and just watch everything with all the commentaries, all the behind the scenes stuff, because and really see the series as straight through as a whole to see how it gels, because that would be interesting.
Now, the next one up is right up my alley, and this is one I literally had it in my cart ready to check out, and I was like, no, I've got to restrain my spending this year, but I really, really want this one. This is my pick of the week. This is the Amicus collection by Severin Films. It includes 4 discs. The first is Asylum from 1972, which I covered a few weeks back on the first chop, which was a really great anthology. And Now the Screaming Starts from 1973, The Beast Must Die from 1974, and then a bonus disc called The Vault of Amicus, which includes something like over an hour of trailers for Amicus movies.
Oh my goodness.
Some other extras and interviews and stuff. I could see myself just sitting down with this and having a complete ball going through all these extras and commentaries. But I'm going to list out the movies singly. Now, the Asylum and Now the Screaming Starts will also be available as standalone discs if you don't want to buy the box set. But The Beast Must Die is only available in this box set, and they're only making like 3,600 copies, so it is a limited release, so a lot of people are jumping on it. And that's kind of the reason I was so tempted, because I know my chances of getting my hands on it later are probably slim.
Well, Amazon still has them. They're still taking orders. So
yeah, I'm still strongly considering it. But Asylum, of course, is The summary is, in order to secure a job at a mental institution, a young psychiatrist must interview 4 patients inside the asylum. And as I referred to when I watched it, it's a neat wraparound because each patient that he interviews is one story in the anthology, which is a great setup.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and this one has audio commentary and featurettes. The next one is, and now the screaming starts. This one has 2 audio commentaries, and it takes place in England, 1795. The young Catherine has just married Charles Finn Griffin.
I was laughing. I was waiting for that.
And moves into his castle. She becomes the victim of an old curse that lays on the family. On her wedding night, she is raped by a ghost and gets pregnant.
And now the screaming starts. Apparently.
I wonder if it was that ghost from Ghostbusters that gives Dan Aykroyd a BJ.
Yeah, I mean, she might be just a slutty ghost, I guess, right?
That just struck me as funny how bluntly they put that last sentence. But
yeah, I know, right?
Some, if not all of these, star Peter Cushing, which is another reason to pick him up. The Beast Must Die is about 8 people have been invited to an island estate for the weekend. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess which one? There's actually a game called Werewolf where you're trying to guess who's a werewolf.
It's almost like Clue meets like House on Haunted Hill or something.
And it's a 1974 movie. That's my
your year.
That's my weakness. That's my year. So that sounds just like a awesome set. I'd love to have that one. Hopefully Santa Claus will bring it, maybe.
Oh, but you know what? They still have The Beast Must Die on DVD, apparently.
Okay, so there again, is if you're willing to sacrifice a little video quality, you can still see the movie.
Yeah, but I say go with Tim's choice and pick up the full like Blu-ray set if you're gonna pick it up. However, it is on Amazon. It's for streaming. It's not Prime though. You have to rent it.
And that's reasonable for a limited edition box set. $56. I know it's only 3 films, but you also get the extra disc. I mean, I could make the argument that that's a decent buy.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's one of those ones, but it's not like you can wait for a sale, probably, because
they'll be
being
gone.
limited as it is, it could be gone.
Yeah.
So.
One that probably won't be gone is Resident Evil, the complete collection. Now, I say that in jest because the Resident Evil movies are my guilty pleasure, along with the Underworld movies. Me and Olivia have watched every Resident Evil movie except for the recent one this year. I think we've seen all of them. I can't tell you a damn thing that has happened in any of those movies. I don't understand the plot. I only played a few of the video games, but I don't know. There's something about them. I just like watching them.
Yeah, and so this is probably basically the updated set with the one that like remember I had bought the first 5 up until the last one. I couldn't pass it up. It was $15 on Blu-ray for that whole set. Even though I knew it was obviously meant that this complete set was going to come out, but I mean the thing is for $15, it had all of them in there up until that point, all of them with the full special features and everything. So I knew I was only going to have to add another $17-18 for when that new one came out, which I did. So basically I have this set, but it's still obviously if you can get a good price on it, you should pick it up if you like those movies, because it's probably a really good set.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting another Alien set that includes Covenant pretty soon, because I saw Covenant.
Oh, right.
I saw Covenant marked down a lot this Black Friday. So
yeah, probably. Well, since they like they tend to love to release Alien sets. I mean, I don't know what up to number like 10 of them.
Yeah, really.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It was like the Rocky sets when you kept having Rocky versions of the Rocky sets come out.
Rocky.
I know. Like, how many can you get? You know. So, well, I don't know, pal. I'll buy my set another 2 times. You know. So yeah. So we don't.
Well,
and that's Tim and I's Rocky impersonation.
So yeah, a friend of mine, Daniel, he used to do this great Mickey impression, and he had a toboggan that looked just like, for those up north, a cap. We say toboggan down here in the South, but it's a knit cap, whatever that, like Mickey wears. And
so he had that.
He had one of those, just exactly like the one Mickey wears, and he had this like sweater thing that looked just like something Mickey would wear. And like we'd go over to a friend of ours' house, and Ken knows what I'm talking about because Ken was there. We'd be playing D&D or something, and Daniel would break out in his Mickey impression with his cap on and the sweater and everything. And it was just killed us. kills.
Oh my god, that's
it's
awesome.
so funny. Anyway, enough about Rocky. Let's move on to The Premonition, which is about as long as the entire Rocky franchise. At least the summary seems like it is.
Yeah,
but it sounds awesome.
What's the deal?
This is 1976. This is an Arrow release. 2K restoration, audio commentary, featurettes. And here we go. This thriller/horror movie tells the tale of a young girl who is terrified that her insane mother will take her away from her beloved foster mother. One day, the crazed real mother attempts to contact the girl at school, but her foster mother has a premonition and gets there in time to protect the girl. Eventually, though, the real mother and her boyfriend, a carnival clown, succeed and takes her away, leaving the bereaved foster parents to enlist the assistance of a parapsychologist to help them interpret the foster mother's terrifying dreams and psychic connection to the girl and find her before it is too late. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, so the foster mother has a psychic connection with the daughter that's not her blood, yet the blood mother just doesn't have any connection yet, and somehow there's like a clown in the middle of this. Yeah. Wow.
I wasn't super interested until I read the part about the carnival clown.
Yeah, I love that. And her boyfriend, a carnival clown. Like, to go out of his way to give his occupation, you know? That. So it must be like, maybe it's in the same universe and it's Mervo, the carnival clown.
Oh, man.
How great would that be?
Listen to that song again.
I know. We still got to do that commentary.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely doing that one. The next one up is The Crucifixion from 2017. This is a Lionsgate release. It has just a lone featurette. When Nicole comes in contact with Father Anton, more and more inexplicable events occur. The pair begin to believe that the priest lost the battle with a demon. So another Exorcist knockoff type thing.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, so, probably pass on that one.
Yeah.
Here's one we both want to see, Brian. Better Watch Out, 2016.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Coming out on 2 days after the release of this podcast. I'm sorry. 2 days after the dismemberment. Sorry. Yeah. The 7th, it hit Shudder. So
this was by Wellgo USA, has a making of featurette. On a quiet suburban street, a babysitter must defend a 12-year-old boy from intruders, only to discover it's far from a normal home invasion. Sounds like a horror Home Alone type thing.
It does. I wonder if does the iconic scene with the slapping the hands across the face, and that would be kind of, who knows.
The next one up is Split from 2017. This is the Best Buy Steelbook. Obviously, it's already out on Blu-ray, but if you want the Steelbook edition, you can get that now.
Yeah, well, you should get this movie. If you don't have it yet, and, Steelbooks are your fancy, get that, because the movie I love. I mean, it's been on cable a lot, and I've been watching it. Every time it's on, I pretty much watch it from where it is, because I just, it's like, basically everything you love about M. Night Shyamalan comes through in this movie.
Yeah, he's really started to redeem himself, which I'm glad.
Plus, it has a Civil Gore favorite, Anna Joy. I'm going to get this. Taylor-Joy. Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah,
okay.
She's really good. The next one is, and this one I almost sued for copyright infringement because then I realized it was not a zombie coming out of the sea; it was a witch.
Right.
We
almost had him.
The Witch Who Came from the Sea, 1976, another Arrow release, 2K restoration, commentary, and featurettes. A disturbed woman is haunted by memories of childhood abuse, which culminates in a murder spree. Now, I started watching this one on Shudder because it is available, or it used to be at least, and it probably still is. But
yeah,
I couldn't make it through it. I got too bored. I need to give it another shot. I don't know that it was that bad. I couldn't grab me. I don't know. I just lost interest. I never even went back and finished it. So I don't know. Maybe in light of this Blu-ray release, I'll give it another chance.
Yeah, because maybe sometimes you watch a movie. You start a movie and you're not really in the mood to watch that type of movie, and you just you had everything going against it. So yeah,
I just need to be in the mood to watch a woman tormented by childhood abuse.
Well, yeah, especially when we're going through all our Kickstarters and stuff. Maybe they'll get you in the mood for that because it's it's very close to the water zombie genre. Yeah. So you might be in the mood then.
And I did realize while watching the Trick or Treat commentary today that there are water zombies. The kids that come out of the school bus in the lake.
That's right.
Yeah, they're zombies. So, yeah.
Balls, we've been stumped
so
again.
Michael Dougherty stole that from us as well. So,
Well, he's all right. It's on loan.
It's on loan, yeah. We'll forgive you this time. Just don't let it happen again.
Yeah.
Then
we'll see what you do with Godzilla, King of the Monsters. How many of our things are in that?
Yeah. Well, the last one on the list is one that I absolutely have to see. Like, this was
yeah,
tailor-made.
this is Tim all over.
This is Tim all over.
Yeah.
1973, Arrow release, Malatesta's Carnival of Blood. So, number one, you got 1973. You've got Carnival. You've got Blood.
Yeah.
I mean, already.
And a name that you can't pronounce.
Yeah, a name I can't pronounce. So, the Norris family get jobs working at a seedy old carnival as a cover for searching for their missing son who disappeared after visiting said carnival.
Is that what you took that one verbatim?
This is verbatim
right?
From the summary.
I love that. Visiting said carnival.
Eccentric manager Mr. Blood, of course, turns out to be a vampire, while the evil owner Malatesta rules over a gaggle of ghastly ghouls.
Say that
That's
10 times.
Great alliteration there, whoever wrote that. Who watch silent movies when they aren't feasting on human flesh. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that gaggle of ghastly ghouls, doesn't that sound like
a grim grinning ghost?
Almost kind of, but like I could picture it like the last line of like one of those like cheesy old songs, like, and a gaggle of ghastly ghouls, or something like. Can you see that? Like
a gaggle of ghastly ghouls.
Yeah, like it could be used so many ways. That term.
I mean that's got so many Tim keywords: seedy old carnival, blood, ghastly ghouls, human flesh, silent movies.
It's almost as if like they're like how to trap a Tim.
Yeah.
And by putting this movie in
it's
front
like
of
the honey pot.
I'd make sure you scan through slow, make sure there's no subliminal messages popping through there, like to take your credit card or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna track that one down. If I cannot find that in the stream, I'm gonna buy that one. Sight unseen.
Yeah,
just gonna blind buy that one.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's got you all over.
Yeah. The theatrical release, we do have one theatrical release for December 1st. It's a limited release, so it may not be playing in your area. That is Psychopaths, and this looks to me. Honestly, I did not watch the trailer. I may have seen a glimpse of it somewhere. It looks kind of to me like a kind of a Purge knockoff, maybe.
Oh yeah.
It's got people terrorizing.
I might have seen this.
Yeah, like they got the weird mask, Purge-esque type mask. But I don't want to degrade it because I really like the Purge movies. I'm a big fan of those, so it may be. And it's coming. The Stranger sequel's coming soon, just kind of that whole vibe as well.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt you, but because I'm a good co-host like this, I wanted to look up to see if there was this way to stream this Malatesta's Carnival of Blood. I did find out you can stream it on Amazon, not Prime, but you can stream it. And if this didn't want to make you watch it anymore, it stars Hervé Villechaize, which is the plane.
Oh my God! Yep, it's done.
So done there deal. Now that done. I mean, you got to see that just to see what he says. Like he's like Mr. Blood, Mr. Blood. He's got to say that in there.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So now I need to see this right away. And by the way, it's $25.66 on Amazon currently.
Ooh, that's steep. But it's an Arrow release. They put out some really good discs. So. Oh, man. Okay, so we have decided to kick off the holiday season. They don't make enough good Hanukkah horror movies.
No, I'm still waiting for a good one. I don't even... Yeah, but that if that's not in there, that's got to be our Kickstarter,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like, what would it be? Like Menorah or something?
Menorah of Gora.
Or... Sladle.
Sladle.
That's
Sladle,
a Kickstarter.
Sladle. There you go.
Yeah. So
I
made it out of sleigh.
So okay, apologies to our Jewish friends, but they just don't make a lot of Hanukkah horror movies. So we're primarily focusing on Christmas this month.
Well, listen, it's like my family. We're Jewish, but we celebrate Christmas.
Yeah,
because
the best of both
my
worlds.
Step-parents. So it's all good.
I wish I could celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah. That'd be awesome.
But you can celebrate Hanukkah with us. I'll send you a latke.
Okay, cool. Done. So, we went this week with Silent Night, Deadly Night. This is from 1984, kind of a cult classic, and really great, man. This movie's awesome. It's a typical... I wouldn't say typical. It's an 80s slasher. It follows some of the same slasher tropes, but the wraparound story and the way they tie it into the theme is really, really entertaining.
Yeah, it gets a bad rap because of all the controversy it got. It's like, how Tim was saying earlier, they picked on Friday the 13th Part 5. Well, it's like they decided to pick on this movie. And, I mean, granted, yes, they didn't like the fact that it was Santa Claus, but I was reading a bunch of things. It's like, one, this is not the first time someone dressed up as a Santa Claus went crazy in some kind of form of media, because it was the old Twilight Zone. Or no, sorry, Tales from the Crypt. The old Tales from the Crypt story that had that.
Yeah.
It's not the first time that a Christmas movie has been made horror at that point. I mean, this was 84. It's funny. For some reason, you would almost think it came out way before that. But it actually was 1984. It came out the same day as Nightmare on Elm Street, actually. Which I don't think I ever realized until I was researching this. And it actually, I think it beat Nightmare on Elm Street opening weekend, even with all the controversy. And obviously, you looked at the paths that these two films have taken.
Yeah.
They've gone drastically different.
Oh, this is great. I was just looking at the IMDb entry. It's also known as Sleigh Ride.
Right,
Oh,
right.
That's great.
And it's funny, too, because they also said that I mean, I don't know if this is true, if they got this from it, but they've kind of I don't know if you saw Ernest Saves Christmas.
I love Ernest Saves Christmas.
Me too. And it was one of my favorite holiday movies, actually, that I watch every year. It's on my docket. It's like kind of trick-or-treating Halloween, every Halloween. Well, Ernest Saves Christmas, I don't care. I'll admit it. That's one of the ones I watch every year. And in that, remember, he was trying to get the Santa Claus for the movie Christmas Sleigh.
Yeah.
And I read something in there. They said that may have been inspired by the working title to Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh man, Ernest Saves Christmas is so good.
Oh my god, I can watch that movie over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just love. You know why? Because I think it really inadvertently, which there was no intention to ever explain this, but it goes through some of the little interesting myths of Santa Claus that they never really get answered, like how the hell does he get every gift in the bag? Yeah. Well, in this they kind of explain that actually. It's a little ball, and whatever you pick comes out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny.
It's a great. Yeah, I don't know how we got on Ernest Saves Christmas in a horror movie podcast.
That's my fault.
But it's wonderful. It's one of my favorites.
I guess more Ernest Scared Stupid would have been more the appropriate Ernest.
I've never
film
seen that one. I've never seen Ernest.
Oh my god! Stupid. And it's funny because I was just going through the E's in my DVD organization thing, and the Ernest movies that I own them all were coming up. So
all right, so this one, because it's a slasher and it's basically a guy racking up a body count. I didn't really want to go through it scene by scene. So
it does have the 3 B's in it.
Definitely has the 3 B's. But I thought we'd just kind of do an overview and just talk about, high level overview of the movie, our favorite kills, some talk like that. So if you have not seen it, the movie starts off, you have a young boy, Billy, his baby brother, Ricky, are driving in a car with their parents.
The grandfather. I'm just laughing at the grandfather.
Yeah, they're going to visit Billy's grandfather in basically a mental institution / nursing home. Is what it appears to be.
Right? Yeah. I guess was he? Because it looks like, I guess they're trying to imply that he's got some kind of dementia.
Yeah,
or
he's got severe mental issues. So anyway, they're basically setting up all the crap that basically scars Billy for life in this opening act. Seriously,
the poor, you almost feel bad for him.
But they go to visit Grandpa. Grandpa is basically unresponsive. To which I love the line where Billy says, "Then why are we here then?" or something. Billy, your Grandpa can't talk. Then why are we here? But so when the parents leave the room, Grandpa, you have to go. You can go see the actual clip of this on YouTube if you don't want to watch the whole movie. You can watch just the Grandpa scene. You have to go see it because it's hilarious.
Yeah, which will make you want to watch the rest of the movie, even though this is his one scene.
So Grandpa basically tells him, everything you know about Santa Claus is a lie. Santa Claus only rewards good girls and boys. He punishes the naughty girls and boys.
Yeah.
This kind of plants the seed in Billy's mind that, bad people must be punished. And Santa Claus only rewards good people. Well,
yeah, what a timely way for this grandfather to be so prophetic.
Yeah, very prophetic, because on the way home from visiting Grandpa, they're, unbeknownst to them, which is kind of a graphic sequence of events. There's this robber that robs a store. He shoots the clerk, runs out of the store. He ends up basically stopping this car that Billy's parents are driving. They come upon this crazy guy dressed as Santa, and of course they're not thinking this guy might be crazy and have a gun. They're thinking, oh, it's a guy dressed as Santa Claus. He'll be pretty nice.
And they were all excited to tell Billy, unbeknownst that Billy was just scarred for life from Santa Claus by good old Grandpa.
Yeah, so this robber, in desperation, he basically attacks the family. He kills Dad. He drags Mom out of the car in a very disturbing sequence, actually, where he attempts to rape her.
Very graphic.
This is where the first boobs come in.
Yeah.
A very graphic attempted rape scene, which she fights back, which angers him, so he ends up slitting her throat. Poor Billy is, meanwhile, hiding in the bushes, watching all this unfold. And poor Ricky, the baby's screaming in the back seat. So now you've got the setup for the traumatic childhood of Billy and Ricky. And they're sent to live in an orphanage. And unfortunately, Ricky's bad childhood is just getting started.
Yeah, because he's got the meanest nun in the world.
So we have the stereotypical mother superior who is just basically the devil herself. And so he continues his traumatization at this orphanage run by this cruel, evil nun. And again, we get more boobs here.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, who is that? Is that another nun? Or is that just one of the other older...
I believe it's just,
orphans?
I think it's some of the older kids.
Like them, like teenager orphans.
Teenagers that are having relations, shall we say.
Yeah, I love that. What did you see? What did you see? What they were doing was evil.
So, yeah, poor Billy stumbles across these two teens having sex, and then mother gets admonished. So now you've got the setup. You've got Billy has this weird thing about Santa Claus being evil, but also, he watched Santa Claus attempt to rape him and did kill his mom. Then he's also got these confusion about sex and violence and all mixed up with Christmas. And it's a great setup. They could have done this so much more simply than they did. They did.
Yeah, they went. It's a deep storyline to it.
Yeah, it's a very deep, it's a very well constructed first act where they're setting all this stuff up. So they could have just had, oh well, yeah, Billy's crazy. He dresses up like Santa Claus and kills people. They could have just dispensed with all the explanation. But I think that's what makes this movie so great is you feel like you know the motivation behind Billy, and you almost have a little bit of sympathy for him in some way.
Because it's like they just keep sticking it to him. I mean, the whole time. It's like, when he's a kid, they she forces him to sit on Santa's lap. Even when the other nurse says, you don't understand, around Christmas time, he's got a problem. He was traumatized. And yet this old Craigley nun is like literally shoving him on Santa's lap, and he ends up punching Santa Claus in the face. Well, which is kind of a funny sequence, but
we have this brilliant reveal. I loved how they did this. When you typically in a movie when they show a child growing up, a lot of times you see this in Disney films, like the kid animal will be singing, and then you cut, he walks behind a tree and he comes back out and he's full grown, and he's still singing the same song or whatever.
I just got an image of if they did it in that way in this movie.
But they have to show somehow that the kid grew up, and they do it in such a brilliant way in this movie. So the one of the nuns goes to the local, what's like a general store, I guess. I don't know what you call it.
There's a toy store, Ray's
toy
Toys.
Store, yeah, that's
something.
right, toy store.
Or Ira's Toys. Sorry, Ira's Toys.
And she asks you, and she says, "Hey, I got this student or whatever, this orphan or whatever that needs a job. Do you think you have a job for him?" He's like, "No, I need this job requires a man. He's gonna be lifting stock and all this kind of stuff. And that's not for a kid." And she introduces Billy, and we realize Billy's no longer a kid. He's like this strapping young lad. I believe he's 18 in the movie, but he looks like obviously a grown man. And the guy was like, "Oh, okay, well, sure, I'd be happy to."
And you saw who that was, right? You know who that was? That was the guy. Remember, he was in Night Warding. He was that nice cop.
Yeah,
that was trying to be,
so
and
great.
He was Gary's father in Weird Science.
Yeah, I bet.
Who the hell's Gary? Is it like that guy?
Yeah, you'll know him.
Back.
You'll.
Yeah, very big character actor.
Britt Leach. Is that Britt Leach?
Yes, he was in. Remember, he was was fantastic in The Great Outdoors. He was the guy that kept getting struck by lightning.
Yeah, he's a fantastic character actor.
Yeah, he really was. And I got to say something about the toy store. So, being a big toy collector and child of the 80s myself, I was just fascinated in every scene in that shop in the background, where literally I'm sitting there saying, okay, look at that. There's a whole stack of the Jabba the Hutt playsets, the original ones.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And I even saw there was in the back. I saw it this time. You tucked away. You could actually see the one of the Luke Skywalker figures, the re-release of it, where it shows him like on the death, like you could see the image of it was like one of the re-release packages, one of the rarer packages of the re-release of the original Luke figure is sticking there, and just going around. I think you can even see one of the big He-Man play sets, like Skull Mountain or something.
Doesn't it make you Castle Grayskull? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Grayskull. That was it, right? Yeah,
one.
Castle Grayskull. Me too. I remember I got that on Hanukkah.
Yeah,
bringing it full circle. Yeah, and so and I'm just like mesmerized through that scene, looking at all the cool old toys.
And you're like, man,
I
wish I had all those like in box right now.
I know. I'm like, turn around, Billy, grab that, grab that.
Hang on to it for 40 years, please.
I know. Come on.
No, but this sets into motion one of the greatest 80s montages I've ever seen. To me, this ranks right on up there with Karate Kid or Rocky or anything where there's a montage. This is a montage of a guy working at a toy store.
Yeah.
Set to the song. I don't know who sings this, but I think it's called On the Warm Side of the Door.
Oh my God, yeah. On the warm side of the door.
It's like it's talking about like, you know, like I'm going to see my friends and my family on the warm side of the door, like for Christmas time. It is like the cheesiest, greatest song. Like I was just grinning from ear to ear watching this entire, and they play like the whole song. Like this thing goes on forever.
Well, and I tell you, the soundtrack to this movie, I want to get a hold of it if it exists.
It's
between
fantastic.
that and that other one, the Santa's Coming, Santa, that one they keep playing, that creepy haunting, which has got to be the most creepy Christmas song ever released.
Yeah,
like,
and even the opening credits song is really good.
Yeah, it's actually as a soundtrack goes for horror films, it's got to be it's right up there with like Mervo the Clown.
Yeah, so if you go on YouTube, you can find the warm side of the door.
That sounded weird. Yes, on YouTube, you too can find the warm side of the door.
You gotta look up the warm side of the door. Like if I didn't think I'd get sued, I'd play the whole song right.
Yeah, who sings it? Do you know who sings it?
Let's see. This is by. Oh, they don't say.
Oh my God, Amazon has it.
It's written by Morgan Ames.
Yeah, they have it on audio CD for $22.99. It's got Warm Side of the Door on it. It's got, oh my God, it's literally got everything. It's got 35 tracks.
Oh my gosh.
It's got every single song, score, everything on it.
Oh,
it's got
that record company. The record company Death Waltz has a Silent Night, Deadly Night release on vinyl.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
35 tracks. Oh my God!
Oh my gosh! Yeah, put that in your stocking this year.
Yeah, I'm adding it to the cart and putting it on my wish list.
Warm side of the door.
Yeah, I think we might need to like somehow get that. And the funny, don't be confused with Silent Night by Lawrence Welk, because that you might have a big shocking.
Go look at that montage; it's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely have to get that CD. Okay. Sorry, back on track.
So now comes the pivotal point in which Billy kind of turns murderous. So the store Santa is out sick, and the store owner, who's kind of a dick, by the way, he decides to see if Billy is up to the task, and dresses Billy in the Santa Claus outfit.
Well, he's not the big bad. It's more that other guy, that his manager is kind of the mean guy.
Oh, that's true, I guess.
Yeah, the owner, he's just kind of doofy. He's like kind of doesn't get it.
Yeah. Well, he was mean to his secretary, though. That's what I was talking about.
Right. That's
remember,
right,
he was like, "Can't you do anything for yourself?" Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was kind of.
I think they were all just stressed out.
Yeah, it was the holiday season.
The holidays, yeah. But,
and didn't he have to make like a certain sale or something?
Yeah, but anyway, so poor Billy gets roped into being a department store Santa, and of course he's probably the meanest department store Santa since the one from Christmas Story.
Oh my God, that'd be a great battle. That'd be like one of those combo movies, like Freddy vs. Jason. It's like those two versus each other.
Oh, you'll shoot your eye out, kid.
And he'll be, oh yeah, well I'll rip his eye out.
No, but he's telling the kids like, you know, if you've been naughty, you get punished and blah blah blah. the people that are out of earshot are like, he's so good with the children, which they don't realize he's actually just scaring them to death.
Yeah, that's another like one of those like brilliant scenes that are just like, you have to see to just enjoy.
What's funny is this guy is as far as like horror movie villains go, he is not scary in the slightest. He's actually a very handsome young guy.
It's not. Yeah, this movie, it's weird. It's like I have to tell you, as the film goes on, it gets less scary. Like the opening sequence is kind of terrifying if you think of it. The opening sequence from the grandfather into because I used to always have the fear, like, because I think I saw some movies as a kid. I always had a fear of you driving in a car and getting like pulled over and stopped and then either attacked or whatever. And it always so, it's like when you think about that, especially as a young kid, that's terrifying. But as it gets on, it's like it almost like you grow with Bill. It's like less scary towards the end, and you more kind of just because it actually like it becomes just a typical slasher towards to the second, third act of the movies, but. Yeah. It works. And I know we've preached on this podcast many a times, like, we don't need to know the backstory. We don't need to know. But this flows so well into the way it goes and the progression of the story that it works in this case.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the backstory has some of the most entertaining scenes in it.
Right, and it's different because it flows. It doesn't wait on it too long. It really shows to why because since you just didn't get the fear element that so you needed the backstory. Now, if that second half was terrifying as the first part, I would say, okay, they went into too much backstory, but I don't think they did. I think that's why this works so well, this film as a whole, because you really got to see why he went like that. And like, you almost like can say, well, who wouldn't go like that? Could be that if what he's been through.
Yeah, now, this is a good time to talk about some of our favorite kills, because there is one kill that I think almost has this kind of the same punch as that first sequence where the mom is killed. Because again, it's violence towards women. Which is not like something I enjoy watching. Like, I find it really disturbing at some level, and it is in this sequence too. There's one sequence where he, of course, a couple teenagers making love as they do in these movies, and she is like full blown naked in this scene.
That's Linnea Quigley.
Yeah.
So it was obviously a major scream queen.
Yeah. So she, scream queen and bared it all.
Many times,
particularly in this sequence, what he basically attacks her, and there's a great one of the great kills of the movie is when he impales her on a pair of deer antlers.
Now, let me ask you about that, because here's the thing. I meant to touch on this earlier. So the version I watched was the unrated version on the little 2-pack DVD I had, and they actually had a disclaimer in front of the film saying that. They wanted to give you the raw, uncut version of this film. They said there is going to be a noticeable difference in quality, and it was. So any of the scenes I could tell that were added for the unrated were super grainy. So this sequence was cutting back and forth between grainy and clear, grainy, clear, to where. So I don't know how you saw this, but what I imagine. Based on the way that with that in mind, they didn't show her actually get. You could see that she was getting impaled, but they didn't show the impalement.
No, they did show the impalement on the version I watched.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the one I saw, they showed it really slow of it coming through her body.
Yeah, they showed it too. It's almost like they took deer antlers and put it through like a prosthetic.
Right. Okay, so you probably did watch the unrated version then.
Okay,
because I think because based on the way I took it, what they said, like literally every scene where it was a close up of the antlers coming through and more blood was coming out, it was super grainy.
I didn't notice the lack in quality, but I also watched it on a SD rental on Amazon streaming, so I wasn't
right. So they may have fixed it.
Yeah, I wasn't.
They may
high
have already
quality
done
anyway.
That. Right.
But yeah, that was a great kill. The other one that really stands out in my mind is there's a sequence where. It's hilarious. The guy's coming down the hill.
I already know what you're going to say, yeah.
The guy's coming down the hill on a sled, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Billy takes an axe and chops his head off, and his friend's waiting at the bottom of the hill for him.
Yeah.
So here comes this headless body sliding down the rest of the way.
Yeah, and then the head rolls down after it.
Oh,
it's funny.
Terrific.
And That was the one where I had seen it when I was younger, that movie, and I didn't remember it until, and then I hadn't seen it years later. That was the one kill, though, that I remembered because it was just so funny. And the whole sequence leading up to that is funny. It's like these two teenagers, which seem way too old to be sledding, and they're talking about this hill like it's like a 4-diamond or black diamond slope that goes straight down. This hill is like 10 feet long, and it's literally like straight. It's not even, I don't even think it goes down. It's the weakest hill ever, and they talk about it for 20 minutes, saying how this thing is, to the point of where those two bullies come and take their sled. Yeah. Like, it seems like way too, like, something that like adult, older teens would not be dealing with.
There's some really subtle humor at work here in this movie. Like, a lot of horror movies that are comedic or have comedic elements, it's either obvious, the attempts at humor are obvious, or they're unintentionally funny because they're so bad. And this movie kind of straddles this in-between line where it's not funny because it's bad, but it's also not funny because the humor is blatantly obvious. So, like, they're not trying to crack jokes. They're just subtly slipping this stuff in there, just like that talk about the hill and...
Yeah, and this one scene, now I don't know if they meant this to be comedic, because obviously if you think of it in the real terms, it's not. But like, just the whole thing where the where Billy is like known to be heading back towards this orphanage to go to Mother Superior, and the cop gets there ahead of time, and he sees the Santa Claus walking towards the orphanage, and he yells, he goes, "Hey, stop!" So he doesn't stop, so he shoots him. And then you have, I swear to God, this almost seemed like something out of Airplane or The Naked Gun, where the woman's like, she goes, "Oh, that's Father so and so," and she goes, "Well, why didn't he stop?" "Well, he's deaf, he couldn't hear." It's like, I'm like, what kind of circumstances? It had to be the what bad luck.
I was laughing out loud at that. Yeah, I think that's intentional. I think it
had to be, right?
Yeah, it's just great.
It was like that. It reminded me of that scene with, like, in the beginning of Naked Gun, because that just happened to be on, so it was kind of perfect timing. With that whole scene where he's like, "Well, Nordberg won't be able to sleep, unless he becomes a druid," whatever, all those horrible things, and he keeps giving it worse, and the woman's like, "Oh." That's what it reminded me of. It was like, what? This poor guy, he goes dressed as Santa Claus, so he gets mistaken identity. Then he gets shot, and the reason why is because he didn't hear.
I think the reason the humor works is because they're not saying that line and then waiting for a reaction, like to cue you in that it's a joke,
Right, they just keep going.
They just keep going. It's like almost like a throwaway line they throw in there, and they just keep going. They keep moving, and I think that's why it works.
Yeah, I felt bad chuckling at it, but I guess now I feel better that I know.
No, I wasn't even chuckling. I was laughing out loud. I thought it was hilarious. Like, the minute they shot the Santa Claus, I was laughing.
Well, you knew
the
it
kids'
was not
reactions.
him.
Yeah, you knew it wasn't him, and the kids' reactions to them like blowing Santa Claus.
Yeah, they're like, ah. And that one kid's still hanging outside, like, watching it all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. But so yeah, poor Billy. He continues his murderous rampage throughout town. Eventually, the cops catch up to him, and he finally busts in to try to kill poor Mother Superior and get his final revenge. But Billy is finally taken down and shot and killed. And then we have that great ending sequence.
Oh yeah.
Where sequel heaven. I mean, right here, because the whole movie you're kind of wondering what happened to Ricky. Ricky was the baby. What happened to Ricky?
They subtly mention him earlier in the movie, again in the orphanage, and then they mention it again later on, so you know who he is.
Yeah,
but you have to kind of pay attention.
Yeah, you definitely have to pay attention, because the whole time I was expecting this to be sort of like a sleepaway camp type thing, where like maybe who I think is Billy is really Ricky, or even like the one we just watched, Blood Rage.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I thought there might be something like that going on, but no, it's played a little more straight than that. So basically, after Billy dies, you see the camera pan over to Ricky.
Well, he actually said, remember, they actually went out to go far as to say, "Oh, how good he is." Too bad he's not like his older brother can't be like him, and he's like he's like helping all the kids, and he's nice, and he's the polar opposite of Billy, because obviously he was a baby when it happened. So
poor Ricky has just watched his brother get shot to death, and he just kind of looks up and says, Naughty.
Oh yeah, like it's so funny because that's like basically all they say throughout the movie is naughty or punish.
Yeah,
naughty, punish.
Perfectly set up the sequel, which I have not seen the sequel actually.
Yeah, I think their storyline goes through 2 and 3, and then after that, it's 4 and 5 are completely unrelated.
Yeah, so that might be some that to watch at some point when I get through some of the other franchises. I still have to make my way through. Not one of the more major franchises by any means.
So, and actually, the third one actually has a pretty decent cast, as Bill Moseley stars in it.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and there's actually a little Twin Peaks connection in there with Richard Beymer, who played Dr. Jacoby, and Eric DeRay, which played Leo Johnson, and Laura Harring. So it's like a little David Lynch thing going on in there, which is interesting.
Yeah,
so you got a decent, and Robert Culp is in that?
Yeah, Robert. I was just seeing that. Look at Robert Culp.
Wow, so that's got a pretty decent collection of people in that.
Oh,
so,
look at that. The subtitle for Part 3 is Better Watch Out.
Yep. So, yeah, and I think that kind of trilogy kind of ends the whole Ricky Billy thing, because I believe 4 is completely nothing to do with it. Like, that's where they started going the route of, oh, no, I take that back. I'm sorry. No, it's still that storyline. 5 is an original story. Sorry, 4 still continues because Clint Howard plays Ricky.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
So that's right. Okay, so I apologize.
This might be fun to go through at some point. I know the sequels aren't nearly as well regarded as the first, but
no, but the fourth one has a decent couple of people you'll recognize in there. So
yeah, so this one I thought was a good kickoff to the season because it's kind of got that humor element, but it's still got enough horror to. It's kind of a lighthearted way to intro all this. Now, next week, I believe we're doing Black Christmas. Is that right?
Yes.
And Black Christmas is obviously much more darker in tone. No pun intended for the black in the title, but it's a little more serious of a slasher in my mind. And then we'll end on a high note with Krampus. Right before we go.
I can't wait to rewatch it again. I've been purposely holding off watching it.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait because it's basically Trick or Treat for Christmas.
Yeah,
if you like Trick or Treat, it's basically the Christmas version of Trick or Treat. So
yeah, and I tell you, obviously, Michael Dougherty, he knows how to make a movie that Tim and I like. I can't wait to see what he does.
He's got the good balance of horror and comedy and whimsy and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and he's doing Godzilla King of the Monsters, so I cannot wait to see what he does with that.
Yeah,
that should be interesting.
Sounds interesting. Yep. Tell us about our beer pairing this week, Brian.
Okay, our beer pairing is up from Tim's stomping grounds. Well, not specifically, but from Kinston, North Carolina, and it's from a brewery which Tim said he knew well, actually, Mother Earth Brewing, and the beer is Silent Night.
Yeah, I'm gonna
so
try
very
this
appropriate.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah,
actually.
there you go. Yeah, and he might have to get me a bottle. It's a bourbon barrel aged imperial stout, and it's one of their special releases. Obviously, I think it's just the last couple of months of the year they release it. And for the first time, I usually kind of just give my own little description of it, but I'm going to read you verbatim what their description of was it on their site, on the website. So it says, invite friends, stoke the fire, and uncork a bottle of indulgence. Silent Night offers a coffee aroma and the taste of an exceptionally rich, malty flavor. Robust, yet smooth, and as black as coal. Each sip is a delightful gift. Old Man Winter gave you just what you were hoping for.
That's perfect. Oh man, that was good stuff. The trivia for last week was about the segment in the first part of Black Sabbath, which was called The Telephone. That first installment was significant for being the first for something. What was it the first of? And the answer is that it was the first Italian thriller to be shot in color.
Which I thought was fascinating, actually. When I read
63 seems a little late to me,
right?
To be shot in color, but to be the first, but I guess so, yeah.
Well, they said first thriller, so maybe like there were other like musicals,
probably, yeah,
stuff like that. But maybe this is the first one because I mean, obviously, black and white lends to that kind of to horror really well, and I guess maybe it was a bold choice they decided to make to try and go color. I don't know. I just thought that was really cool because it's something that I don't think I ever would have thought of as to that, because I really didn't know that much about the movie. So I thought that was a good trivia question.
Well, I love the trivia question for this week. This is a great one as well. So the trivia question for Silent Night, Deadly Night is this. Which actor protested the film publicly only to then star in one of the future sequels?
I'll give you one hint. It's not Clint Howard.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, and this had a lot of people protesting it. From apparently, I read that Gene Siskel, when he reviewed it on, I guess, at the movies or in his paper, he basically called out all the people, the production company, all the people that worked on it by name, and just went, "Shame on you."
Oh my god! It was so funny as watching it today. It just seems so tame and lighthearted and cute, for lack of a better word. I mean, there are some, like we said, the scenes against the women were the rapey scenes were a little disturbing, but as far as like the rest of the movie, it's pretty like lighthearted and goofy to me. So.
And that's the thing, that was not even the problem they had. And it's funny, the director went on to say I read a thing, he said they were more afraid that they were going to be upset at the depiction of the Catholic Church way in there with the mean nuns and the way they were, the way they were acting towards, with the I guess the punishments and all that. So they were worried about that aspect. That never even got touched on. They were there were these groups that got started because of this film, complaining that how dare you take something like Santa Claus and show him terrorizing children.
Well, here's the thing though. They don't even make an attempt to make him look like a believable Santa Claus. He doesn't even have the mustache. He's basically got a fake beard around this young teenager face. Is all it is. And he's skinny.
Yeah, and most of the time, I think that beard is hanging so far down, you don't even see it on him.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, the first Santa Claus guy, the one that spawned it, all the robber, he was in full costume the whole time. And excuse you didn't see his face. But it seems silly that they made such a big deal out of that particular movie and at that point in time. I guess it was a slow week for protests or something, because if you look at this now, you're like, what the heck what was the big deal about this? You see, there's so much worse on film, on television, no less.
Who knows? It was a different era back then. But go watch this movie today. It really holds up quite well in my opinion. It's really
it does.
Really fun. It's very, very entertaining, very well paced, great background story, great kills, great sense of humor. I mean, the list goes on. I really enjoyed it from start to finish.
Yeah, and it was one of those ones back in the day where, kind of like that Faces of Death, where I remember as a kid, and when it came out, you'd hear all this stuff about, oh, it's so bad. It's to the point where, basically it had the exact opposite effect. It intrigued me to want to see it. I wanted to see it as soon as I could, because I'm like, wow, if this is getting this many people up in arms, I got to see what they're talking about.
Sometimes that backfires on the critics because it just makes people want to see it even more.
Yeah, I mean, it did have some issues, I guess it was TriStar. It literally got pulled from theaters at one point, and just, and then I guess for a while it was only, on cable, and it was just a weird, it's an interesting story.
Yeah, it just seems weird because you compare that to something like Last House on the Left, which is 10,000 times more brutal and disturbing than this. But I guess that one had its own controversy as well. But
and here's the thing: what kid is going to see it?
Gosh.
I mean, come on. Well, that's the thing. It just seemed like the whole thing seems so ridiculous. What they must, like I said, it must have been a slow week. They had nothing better to do. So hey, let's go protest this movie.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay, well, guys, we'll see you back next week for Black Christmas.
Yes, it will be a good one. And also, we will be doing our first ever, obviously because it's our first Christmas doing the podcast, but still, I can make it sound more important. First ever horror Christmas guide, gift guide, that is.
Yeah, we're going to be listing the stuff that is on our wish list for horror-themed items. And if you need some last-minute shopping ideas for your horror fan in your life, come listen in next week. We'll give you some good ideas.
Yes, including, and we already, based on just knowing Tim and I from this episode, you probably already know what some of them are.
Yeah.
But so that should be a fun show. So we will see you all next week.
See you later, guys.